breaker 1.9, breaker 1.9. Oh, hey, Joe.
Hey, Tony.
How's it going, man?
Oh, doing real good. How about you today?
Doing awesome, man. So today we're going to talk about Allen and Heath.
Awesome.
Tell me about the Allen and Heath lines. Where do you start out with analog all the way up through digital and in-ear monitor systems and everything?
Absolutely. So Allen Heath is a live mixing console manufacturer. You can use them in recording studios as well, but they're really kind of focused in the live event production. So Allen Heath makes everything from analog mixers all the way up to large format digital mixers. They make processors, and they make personal monitor mixers for musicians as well. So I thought we'd just talk about the different lines that they offer, the different tiers they offer, and then kind of go from there.
Sounds like a plan. Let's do it.
Cool. So Allen Heath has made analog mixers for years and years and years, and they still do make analog mixers called the Z series. So there's different formats of Z, everything from just a couple of channels all the way up to a larger multi-channel analog system. As soon as you jump into the digital mixers, you get into a series called the Q series. So QU. In the Q series, it's digital, and it offers there's a 16-channel version, a 24-channel version, and a 32-channel version. There's a USB port on the back, so you can multi-track record and play back to a computer. You can also record stereo or multi-track to a flash drive. Just plug a flash drive right in the top and hit record, and now you're tracking your whole service or performance.
Or even like a wedding reception, you could track it and then give that to the videographer, and they're good to go.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Super cool. The benefits to digital is that now all the parameters that you change can be stored to a scene. So you could have different scenes. If it's a church, maybe you have your contemporary service scene saved, and then your traditional service scene saved, or different users, different performers. You can save your settings with just a click of a button, which is really cool.
Very cool.
There's also a couple user profiles, so you can lock out specific parameters to maybe a volunteer to restrict access so they don't get too overwhelmed.
Cool.
When you jump up into the next tier, which is called SQ, there's an SQ5, SQ6, and SQ7. They're all capable of 48 channels, 48 mixing processing channels that you can mix simultaneously. The difference between the 5, 6, and 7 are really just the form factor. How many faders and how large of the surface do you want? They all run the same software, the same audio quality, and the same maximum channels. Just a few extra buttons or the physical inputs and outputs on the back. Still capable of USB recording to a computer or flash drive or hard drive. And it's a little bit even more flexible as far as a fader layout. So you have 6 layers that are totally customizable. So you could put an input next to an output, next to an aux end, and kind of configure it to the way that works best for you.
So pause right there, because this could be confusing to a lot of people that are watching. How does that work? I mean, I would assume that you're plugging the microphones into a stage box up on stage, and it's connecting to the mixer, but how do you make it actually jump inputs?
Sure. So there are different remote stage boxes that are compatible with these different series. There's a couple that work with the Q series, the AR2412, the AB168, and the AR84. So those connect to the Q series consoles, and it's kind of a one-to-one type of a connection. So you plug into socket 1, shows up on channel 1. But with the higher tier systems, you could plug into channel 1 on the back of the mixer or channel 1 in the stage box, but it could show up on channel 7 on the mixer. So it's totally configurable. You just have to kind of set it up that way in your surface preferences, the way that makes the most sense to you.
Very cool. Well, that's a good transition, I think, into the next step up of consoles. So talk to me about what's the next step above SQ5, or SQ series. I should
Sure.
say.
So the next step up is called the Avantis. So the Avantis offers 64 mixable channels, input channels, by 42 assignable mix bus outputs. So what that kind of means is that you have this bucket of 42 mix buses, and you can configure them however you want, whether you want more or less aux sends or effects sends or matrix outputs. You can kind of configure your bus structure how you like to see that configured. The Avantis is super cool because it has really two really large touchscreens, 15.6-inch touchscreens, and there are 2 banks of 12 faders each. So it's a decent sized surface, but it's not too large that will take up too much space either. So it seems like a really nice size.
Very cool. Do you have another one that's above the Avantis?
There is a tier above that. It's called the DLive Series. So the DLive Series can handle 128 input channels by 64 mix bus outputs. There's 2 classes. There's an S class and a C class. The S class has more redundancy built in and is probably more suited for live touring applications. And the C class, more cost effective, compact, less redundancy built in, so it might be perfect for a permanent install, maybe a house of worship.
And from what I understand, you can get a Dante option card. For those viewers out there that don't know what the Dante option card does, what does that do?
Sure. So it expands your mixing system into if you have an existing Dante ecosystem. So certain wireless microphones, certain processors, certain audio equipment speaks a digital language called Dante. And you can outfit your Allen Heath mixers, the SQ, Avantis, or DLive Series with that if you need that to communicate with the rest of your system. So we like to say we play nice with others. We'll work with Dante. There's also Waves option cards, MADI option cards, other Giga Ace or SLink connection cards if you want to do digital splits to other cables. So there's so it's very flexible. Yeah.
So talk a little bit about you mentioned the SLink. What can you do with SLink? What can you connect with via SLink?
Sure. So SLink is the socket on the back of an SQ or an Avantis mixer, and I like to think of it as a smart link. So it's the SLink connection, but it's capable of speaking a couple of different protocols. So it will connect to the same boxes that your Q series can, the 48 kilohertz stage boxes, or it could connect to the newer 96K DX or GX stage boxes as well. So it's kind of a protocol, Allen Heath protocol that can connect to many different surfaces. It can even connect mixer to mixer for doing digital split type options.
That's awesome. And I see you have something else here. What's this little fancy little box with buttons on it? What's that do?
Yeah, so Allen Heath has their ME series, their ME series. So this is the ME500. They also make the ME1, and it's a personal monitor mixer. So you might find this on a stage or at a church. So musicians can take an output, a headphone output to a pair of headphones, or a pair of in-ear monitors, and then they'll be able to select certain channels and increase the volume or decrease the volume of certain channels going to their in-ear monitors. So they can kind of mix the band to their liking without distracting the sound person or the audience by saying, hey, I need more of this in my monitor during the middle of the show. So kind of a nice flexible way that musicians can mix their own monitors on stage.
Very cool, because I know a lot of our customers could benefit from this. Even if they're doing an outdoor ceremony with, say, 3 or 4 different musicians, maybe they could outfit them with an ME system, with a little small digital mixer, and then show the musicians, hey, this is how you turn different things up, and it would be a great value add to the system that they have.
Absolutely.
there any other things going on with Allen and Heath that we should know about? Anything coming down the pipe, or just kind of product availability things that you could talk about?
Sure. So Allen and Heath did just introduce a few new matrix processors. So what they're calling the AHM series. So the AHM 16, 32, and the AHM 64. So they're really, matrix processors. So they could be used in conferencing settings or main loudspeaker processing applications, or zone mixing from in a large multi-use space. You can have different zones with different input sources. So it's a really flexible processing tool that that Allen Heath came out with, and they came out with the custom control app, where you can create custom user interfaces that'll work on a smartphone or an iPad or a fixed touchscreen, where you can create a user interface for the customer so they can control different parameters of the processor. So really cool product, and we'll see a lot more of that coming coming down in the future here.
Speaking of controlling with a tablet or an other type of device, computer, phone, whatever, going back to the digital mixers, are you able to control those with a device like that?
Absolutely. So all of the digital mixers, whether it's Q all the way up to the DLive, can be controllable via an iPad. Yep.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for taking the time to visit with me, Joe, and talk about Allen and Heath. If you want more information about Allen and Heath products or pricing or availability, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we will direct message you back. Or you can go on our website and check things out as well, or get a hold of me, Katie, or Ben. Thanks a lot.